So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the business meeting of Wednesday, June the 3rd. We'll begin the meeting tonight with the land acknowledgement of traditional territory, and that's going to be read by Student Trustee Kim, please.
Simcoe County District School Board acknowledges that we are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people.
Thank you very much. I'm now going to ask you to stand, if you're able, for the national anthem. The instrumental version of the national anthem is courtesy of Bradford District High School. I will now ask Student Trustee Kim to read the Statement of Respect.
The SEDSB is committed to creating a culture of belonging, engagement, and success for all through deliberate actions and an intentional focus in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The SEDSB Board of Trustees will conduct meetings in an inclusive, respectful manner that upholds the principles for respect and for human rights and allows all members, staff, and guests to participate fully regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, age, ability, and gender.
Thank you very much. And now we are at item number 4 on our agenda, which is the roll call. And before we do the roll call tonight, I would just like to acknowledge Executive Assistant Deeth, who this will be her very last meeting from the board. She is moving into retirement in just a few days. How many days? 19 days. So I just would like to wish her well in her retirement and acknowledge all her years of service to the Simcoe County District School Board. So thank you very much for that. So with that, we'll do the roll call. We have no one participating electronically tonight, and we do have regrets from Trustee Armstrong, Trustee Foley, Trustee Grummett, Trustee Harrigan, and Trustee Wilson. So the next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there someone who would like to move the agenda, please? Thank you, Trustee Strawn, and seconded by Trustee Talbot. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? And that carries. Thank you. Are there any declaration of conflict of interest this evening? Okay, none noted. We have no presentations and delegations, so that takes us into items for decision on our agenda. And the first one is staff reports, is under staff reports, BSCD 1A, Attendance Area Review 2025-01, New Angus Elementary School Review, Superintendent Van Nispen, please.
Thank you, and with permission of the chair, I'd like to invite Senior Manager Kukin and Assistant Manager Klee to the table to support any questions that might come on the next two reports.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to have you join us.
Thank you. And the first report for decision for you tonight is Attendance Area Review 2025-01, New Angus Elementary School. review. And following the guidelines of Board Policy 2317, School Attendance Areas and Administrative Procedure A7000, School Attendance Areas, the review was undertaken to create an attendance area for the new Angus Elementary School, which is targeted to open September 2027. The schools included in this review are Angus Morrison, currently at 153% utilization, Baxter Central, currently at 109% utilization, New Lowell Central Public School, currently at 118% utilization, and Pine River Elementary School, currently at 176% utilization. When considering new attendance areas and changes to existing attendance areas, the intent is to balance school enrollments, create sustainable and stable school populations and school programs, efficiently use accommodation, and realize transportation efficiencies while also preparing for future growth. The new Angus Elementary School was approved by the Ministry as a result of accommodation pressures and growth in the Angus area of the Township of Essa. To inform the school community, share information, and obtain feedback relating to the proposed boundaries and recommendations, staff undertook a variety of actions, including written communication with the school communities and meeting with school administration. An online thought exchange was held from March 12th to April 7th, 2026 to garner feedback on the proposals. And we held an in-person and drop-in information session at Angus Morrison on March 24th. There were approximately 60 attendees along with board staff and staff from the schools, as well as from multiple departments. Many individuals simply had requests for clarification, and there was dialogue around specific addresses. There was also significant interest in the school design, construction progress, and from the Baxter Public School community. Staff also accepted comments via a dedicated email address. While more detail is provided in the report, which includes area-specific analysis, feedback was largely influenced by the potential impact on individual families. The most common topics, concerns, and themes heard included impact on friendships, curiosity and interest in building design and construction, proximity and busing concerns, before and after school program availability, transition concerns, general support for the new school and the proposed boundaries, future plans in the area, as well as, aside from some other individual preferences, there was some opposition from those not wanting change. This was generally confined to a small holding area attending Baxter Public School that is directly across from Angus Morrison Public School, which is being proposed to be their new home school. Overall, there was substantial support and excitement for the development of the new school. Staff do thank the community for their time and contributions to this process. After further analysis and considering the feedback received, staff's final recommendations to be implemented for the 2027 opening of the new school are as follows. Apply the proposed boundaries as set out in Appendix E of this report. Remove and redirect the holding status related to Pine River Elementary School and Baxter Central Public School as set out in this report. It has been the board's practice to close schools to out-of-area attendance the year attendance area changes come into effect. Staff recommend all elementary schools involved in the review be closed to out-of-area attendance, and as per policy 2317, school attendance areas, students entering grade 8 in September of that year will be given a choice to graduate from their current home school despite a change in attendance areas. Transportation will be provided to those students who choose to remain in their current home school and are currently transported to and from school. Staff are not proposing any changes to the New Lowell Public School boundary, the French Immersion feeder boundaries, and the secondary school attendance areas. Staff acknowledge that some uncertainty currently exists, particularly as it relates to transportation and staffing. Subject to board approval, these items will be available when the Transportation Consortium and Simcoe County District School Board staff progress through them and their respective planning processes prior to the 27-28 school year. Transition plans and support will be cooperatively developed and implemented by the respective school administrations in order to make the experience positive and exciting. Staff believe the recommendations outlined best address current accommodation and program pressures at the schools involved in this review, while also taking into account feedback from the community and future growth. And with that, we'll take any questions.
Thank you very much for that report. Questions from trustees? Trustee Rafiq?
Thank you very much, and through the chair, thank you very much for the report and all the work that's gone into this. This is my area, so I definitely have been in touch with lots of community members. It was unfortunate to read about 100% of the respondents that replied not wanting to move from Baxter to Angus. So a couple questions there. When people enroll in a holding school, are they informed that it's a holding school? Are they told about what the possibility that they will have to move at one point? How does that process kind of work?
Go ahead, thank you.
Through you, Chair Lloyd. First of all, about the 100%, it's a little bit misleading in the fact that of the respondents, so that represented only, I think, less than half of the individuals in that area. As far as holding schools, when they register, it is identified in the registration form. We're not sure exactly how each principal transmits that information in person, but it is found in the registration form, so there's notification, and we do notify through our accommodation plan annually as well. Yeah.
Another question, go ahead.
Thank you. Follow up. So maybe if I can ask maybe one of our superintendents or somebody so how does that work at a school level? I'm just curious because I feel like some of these families felt uninformed. They felt uninformed that they were at a holding school. I totally understand that the information is there. It's maybe something that they missed. So I'm just wondering if it's a conversation that is had with the principal or the principal would have as they're registering, or if they're just expected to see that, or just if you can speak to how that works at a school.
Director Stevens, please.
Thank
CEO
you.
Stevens. Sorry.
Thank you, and through you to Trustee Rafiq. So it is on the registration form. I would say it's probably not something that the principal would even, to know as a student registers in junior kindergarten. It is really, as the parents are registering and picking their schools, they would see that designation. Sometimes they're in the holding school for the whole time they're there. So it is a difficult one because we put holding schools in place hoping to get capital projects that we never get. So it isn't, it's not something that we fully explain to every single student registering because it could have zero impact on them later on. Things could change, houses could change, areas could change, but that's the only way for a person or a parent to know as they're entering is that they aren't in the current catchment area. It's a holding school. But it is something we could look at. It's just a challenge, as I said, because we have holding schools all over that are holding certain pockets that those children will have all 10 years at that elementary school because we never get the capital that we're looking for.
Anything further? Anyone else?
Oh, I do have another question, but if anyone else has another question,
No, go ahead.
I
I have one question, but go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that, CEO Stevens. I can definitely understand and appreciate how that works. That yes, I have definitely seen somebody spend their whole life at a holding school, so I can understand for sure. I'm sorry, what else? I was also going to ask as a follow-up to that, it was in the report that we'll do what we can to invite the new families as they're moving to different schools, they'll be invited. I think part of the problem is I think Angus Morrison has a bit of a bad rep right now, unfortunately, is one of our, very heavily utilized schools. It is way overloaded, and I think that people get a bad picture of it because of that. So what I've really been trying to talk to people about is that, it's not going to be at 100% capacity anymore. It will be a very different school than it is now, and so I think that's really important to focus on that. You know I was at a visit at Angus Morrison. I spoke to the principal. They were planning on inviting parents to school council meetings and fun fairs and lots of different things. So I think that's really important that we welcome those families to the new school and make them feel a part of those new schools early on. So one other group I did just want to ask about. I know there was a group so the Angus Morrison and the new Angus school are pretty close. I feel like depending on where you are, you might even be able to be a walker at either one. So I know there was one group, a kind of a large group, that was upset. They wanted to go to the new school, but they will be going to Angus Morrison. So I just wondered if you could maybe speak a little bit to that decision. It's quite a large group, so I can imagine that was a big part of. There was a big decision there of how that kind of happened. And my understanding is that they will be walkers to Angus Morrison, so it wouldn't be useful to send them to another school. But I was just wondering if you'd speak to that situation a little bit.
Assistant Manager Clean. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, to Trustee Rafik. So that is the area by the Nottawasaga River, and we did receive a few pieces of correspondence and comments at the open house that suggested that they would desire to go to the new school. There are about 115 students that currently live in that geography. So as a result, if you can think of that through, that's equivalent to 4 to 5 classes. So that definitely unbalances Angus Morrison and overbalances the new Angus school. And these students currently attend Angus Morrison, and so there is no change, and yes, they do walk.
One more. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's a very quick last one. I actually meant to ask you this ahead of time. When I look at the map, it's hard to tell. So the fifth line is literally where country meets city in the big town of Angus. On the one side of the fifth line, it's like farms with homes with lots of acreage, and on the other side is where the city started for Angus. There's tons of houses and subdivisions. So I think how it stands right now, the one side of the road goes to Baxter and the other side of the road goes to Angus. And it was hard to tell from the map. Is that going to change? Would those people on the other side of the road now come to Angus? Or is it making sense how I'm describing it? The fifth line, so like the whole subdivision is on one side of the road. I can even ask you later. And then the other side of the road is, the east side versus the west side, yeah. Bill.
Through the chair to Trustee Rafik, yes, they will be staying at Baxter.
Okay, any other questions? I just had one question with respect to childcare. It's always, when we bring new schools on and when they go over capacity, there's always change, right? And it's always very, very difficult. And I've sort of gotten to the point with parents, I just say school boundaries are always subject to change, right? Depending on what happens, where attendance is, things like that. But childcare is pretty important for parents, before school and after school childcare. And I know when we did the recent one in Aurelia, it was a big topic of discussion there. So how are the childcare providers going to work through that with parents? Thank you.
Through to Trustee Chair Lloyd. So YMCA has been awarded the contract for the new Angus school, and they were at the open house and they were very excited. It was actually the happiest spot on the whole attendance boundary. I tried to sneak over there to get the little treats that they were offering. And so as we're working through the transition, because there are a couple of other programs involved in this transition, so once the trustees have set and approved the boundaries, we'll be working with the providers to determine the students' names that are currently within the programs, and the YMCA has agreed that they will accommodate all of those students. We've asked them to be prepared to open 2 classroom before and after schools no matter what, and then the third could be a bonus if there's more students who wish to allocate it. We are going to be working with Baxter specifically because it is a big change between walkers and bussers. So those students may have chosen not to do childcare because they were bussers, so they used the busing as that alternative. So we are going to be working with that select group as well to ensure that there's space within those programs.
Okay, thank you very much. That's great news. That's great news. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any. There is a recommendation in this report that the Business Standing Committee recommend that the board approve the proposed elementary attendance areas effective September 2027 as set out in Appendix E and report number BSC-D-1A review 2025-01, New Angus Elementary School dated June the 3rd, 2026. Is there a mover for that recommendation? Trustee Rafiq, seconded by Trustee Talbot. Any further questions or comments? Okay, call the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? And that carries. Thank you. That takes us into B, which is BSC-D-1B, Attendance Area Review 2025-02, New Barrie Number 1, bracket Dean Avenue Elementary School Review, and that's Superintendent Van Nispen, please.
Thank you, and through the chair. As with the previous attendance area review just discussed, this process as well followed all board policies and procedures and consultative requirements. The review was undertaken to create an attendance area for the new Barrie Number 1, also known as Dean Avenue Elementary School, which is targeted to open September 2027. The schools included in this review are Allendale Public School, currently at 156% utilization, Hewitt's Creek, currently at 124% utilization, Mapleview Elementary School, currently at 109% utilization, and Willow Landing Elementary School, currently at 108% utilization. Innisdale Secondary School and Maple Ridge Secondary School boundaries were also considered in this review. When considering new attendance areas and changes to existing attendance areas, the intent is to balance school enrollments, create sustainable and stable school populations and school programs, efficiently use accommodation and realize transportation efficiencies while also preparing for future growth. The new Barrie 1 Elementary School was approved by the ministry as a result of accommodation pressures and growth in the south end of the city of Barrie. This review was particularly challenging due to the number of holding areas involved, considerable future growth still to come, and the close proximity of schools, while also having to take into account the approval and development of another elementary school, Barrie Number 2, otherwise known as Thicketwood, in just south of that area. A major goal in this review was to define boundaries that would avoid moving students in the area twice due to the Barrie Number 2 attendance area review slated to commence next year. To inform the school community, share information, and obtain feedback relating to the proposed boundaries and recommendations, staff undertook a variety of actions, including written communication with school communities and meeting with school administration. An online thought exchange was held from March 13th to April 7th, 2026 to garner feedback on the proposals. We held an in-person drop-in information session at Mapleview Heights Elementary on March 26, 2026. There were approximately 50 attendees along with board and school staff. Many individuals simply had requests for clarification around specific addresses. There was also significant interest in school design and the construction progress. Staff also accepted comments via a dedicated email address. While more detail is provided in the report, which includes area-specific analysis, feedback was largely influenced by the potential impact to individual families. The most common topics, concerns, and themes heard included impact on friendships, choice of school to attend, concerns about safety for students walking to school, proximity and busing concerns, before and after school program availability, transition concerns, general support for the new school and the proposed boundaries, future plans in the area, and aside from some individual preferences, the least support came from a small section of the Mapleview Heights community that is in close proximity to both the new school and their current school. Some other opposition was found in the Willow Landing community and proposed to transfer to Mapleview Heights. One of the biggest concerns was related to pedestrian safety on Dean Avenue. Staff have met with the City of Barrie staff on this issue several times during the course of planning and commencing construction, and have further flagged to them the feedback that was received through this consultation. The city has committed to reviewing pedestrian crossing requirements in the area as a result of our feedback. Staff will continue to follow up with the city staff. Aside from that noted and some individual preferences, there was substantial support for the development of the new school and of the proposed boundaries. Staff again thank the community for their time and feedback. After further analysis and considering the feedback received, staff's final recommendations to be implemented for 2027 are as follows. Apply the proposed boundaries as set out in Appendix E. Removal or redirection of certain holding status related to Allendale Heights, Hewitt's Creek Public School, Mapleview Heights Elementary School, and Willow Landing Elementary School, as set out in this report. Staff recommend all elementary schools involved in the review be closed to out-of-area attendance. And, as per policy, students entering grade 8 in that September will be given the choice to graduate from their current home school with transportation provided to those students who are currently transported. Staff are not proposing any changes to the French immersion feeder boundaries or the secondary school boundaries at this time. Those will continue to be reviewed as growth in the area continues and accelerates. Transportation and staffing information will be available when the Simcoe County Student Transportation Consortium and staff progress through their respective planning processes prior to the 27-28 school year. Transition plans and support will be cooperatively developed and implemented by the respective schools administrators to make the experience positive and exciting for students and the school community. Staff believe the recommendations outlined address current accommodation pressures at the school and community feedback while keeping an eye to the continued development of South Barrie. And with that, we'll take any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from trustees around the table? Trustee Strong, please.
Thank you, and thanks for the report. I have a couple of questions and some comments. I'll start with a couple of comments. I think that it's great that the feedback was generally positive and it certainly seemed well balanced. One thing that I think will be helpful for trustees moving forward, I don't know if this is even possible, is like, do the people who submit the online survey information, are those the same people that go to the open house? Like, if there's 50 people at the open house and 50 people are putting in an email, like, could those potentially be the same 50 people? Do we have any way of knowing that? I guess that's my first question.
Superintendent Van Nispen.
Thank you, and through the chair to Trustee Strawn. We had 192 parents and guardians who participated in the online feedback. We do not know if any of those attended the in-person unless we went into their specific feedback and they stated, and we spoke to you while we were at. We don't, at the open session, it is more of just conversations. It is individuals walking around. We have different stations set up with regards to, we have one for the design and construction. We had this time through, it was great. We had the child care providers, as Assistant Manager Klee indicated, the happy part of the of the gymnasium, as well as stations for the different transportation and elementary and secondary topics. So we can't specifically say how much of crossover we have with regards to that feedback.
Follow-up? Another question?
Yes, another follow-up. Maybe this is just more of a comment. I'm shocked. I had no idea that children who lived on Mapleview Drive, like south of Mapleview Drive, over by Prince William Way, went to Allendale Heights. I was like, I spent so much time looking at this map trying to figure out how Allendale Heights figured into this picture. And I think that for me, that really just goes to show the backlog that we have in our capital projects in South Barrie, the number of students that we have already there, living there, not like new developments that might come later, but these are students who are already in the area and are traveling quite a distance to get to school. And I would not be surprised if those families are much happier with the new outcome. I'm sure the students will be, because they'll probably get a lot of extra sleep before they have to go to school in the morning. And I think, again, it just speaks to the need to continue to advance our capital priorities and continue to work with the ministry on doing so. I was also really happy to hear that hopefully the next elementary school won't have a great impact on this group of students. And I'm assuming that's why Sickanack, Warnica, like Hewitt's Creek, why some of those other schools are not part of this, because they would be part of the one to come. I'm getting nods, so that's great. Yeah, overall, I think that we've done a great job consulting, and I'm also certain that when all of this goes into effect, there will be people who are surprised to learn where they're going, and we also, all of the staff do a great job in working with families to make sure that they all get to the right place at the right time. So thanks for the work on this.
Thank you for those comments. Anything further? Okay, there is a recommendation contained within this report that the Business Standing Committee recommend that the board approve the proposed elementary attendance areas effective September 2027 is set out in Appendix E in report number BSC-D-1B, review 2025-02, Newberry number 1, bracket Dean Avenue Elementary School, dated June 3rd, 2026. Is there a mover for that recommendation? Thank you, Trustee Talbot. A seconder? Trustee Strawn? Any other questions, comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. That takes us to item C on our agenda, which is BSC-D-1C, review of policy 2101, use of school board resources during the municipal and school board election campaign, and that is Superintendent Van Nispen.
Thank you. Through the chair to the table. Timeliness of this policy, it is up for review with the upcoming election with no recommended content changes, only some clerical related to corporate standards.
Okay, are there any questions or comments from trustees? Don't see. So there is a recommendation that the Business Standing Committee recommend that the board approve policy 2101, use of school board resources during the municipal and school board election campaign, as set out in Appendix B of report number BSC-D-1C, review of policy 2101, use of school board resources during the municipal and school board election campaign, dated June 3rd, 2026. Is there a mover for this? Trustee Rafiq, a seconder. Trustee Talbot, any questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? And that carries. Thank you. Okay, that takes us into items for information. First one is staff reports, and that's BSC-I-1A, contract awards within approved budget. Superintendent Van Nispen, please.
Thank you, and through the chair to the table. It's a report for you for information. This one really reminds us that aside from building the new schools, we've got a lot of other work that we're going to be doing in our existing schools over the summer months. So first up, we've got Andrew Hunter. We've got classroom refurbishment, where we're going to be doing 8 existing classrooms. This includes flooring, ceiling, lighting, millwork, whiteboards, tackboards, as well as we're going to be doing some exterior finish systems and painted block work. We have Instill Secondary School. This is Science and Interior Renovations, Phase 3. And we're going to be renovating 3 science rooms to bring them up to current standards with regards to flooring, ceiling, lighting, millwork, and whatnot. We've got a renovation of the first floor corridors, which again includes ceilings, lighting, painting. And we have a renovation of the main office to bring it to current standards, including improved layout, flooring, ceiling, lighting, and painting. We have the Tottenham Elementary School new facility construction. So this is the new 2-story, 426 pupil elementary school that is being built on a greenfield site in Tottenham. As well, we have at Nottawasaga Creemore Public School, we've got exterior doors, windows, precast panels, and joint replacement. We're going to be replacing 13 exterior doors, 7 windows, as well as replacement of an existing deteriorating precast panel with panels with aluminum composite panels, as well as we're going to be replacing some deteriorating expansion joints. At the Education Center here, we have a curtain wall replacement. This is phase 2. So we have the replacement of the entire curtain wall and entrance system at the main entrance, as well as some work on the exterior windows and blinds and acoustical paneling in the Roy Edwards room. We have the Ernest Cumberland Elementary School site upgrades. And this project addresses deteriorating parking, laneways, and walkways, and addresses various stormwater management issues. So this includes regrading portions of the site to improve drainage and stormwater management. We've got fencing and gate repairs and replacement of deteriorating asphalt, paving, and concrete sidewalks, as well as some installation of some new concrete curbs. At Tottenham Public School, we have parking lot expansion. This is phase 2. We did the north section last summer. So phase 2 of this project focuses on the south portion of the site and includes replacement of deteriorating asphalt, paving, and concrete sidewalks, replacement of existing granular limestone material with new asphalt, and we have some minor regrading to improve barrier-free access and accessibility. As well as stormwater management, and we've got reconfiguring the south parking lot to include a new student drop-off and kiss and ride laneway. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Lots happening, so it's good to hear. Any questions from trustees with respect to these report and the information? Okay, I do not see any, so thank you very much for that update. Takes us to correspondence, and we have none. Are there any other matters for business tonight? Okay, I don't see anything. Are there any notices of motion for the next meeting? I don't see any. We do not have a closed session this evening, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Trustee Powell, thank you. Seconded by Trustee Bites. All those in favor? And we are adjourned. Good night, everyone.